Hi guys, it's your professor here, and I'm here to do a little video here um, on your thesis and to talk about this paper here. This is your paper that I put in your Why Did This Make an A um, activity online. This is the paper that is kind of the model paper. Um, this is this paper earned an A. In fact, I think if I remember correctly, this paper um, got all the points. Like I think it was the perfect paper. It got a perfect grade. And so I wanted to give this to you guys as an example of how to do your paper. And it's exactly, they got the exact same assignment that you guys did, the exact same question, and did the exact same annotated bib. In fact, this person's annotated bib, the example of the annotated bib that was with a thing link that had the red circles on it, it was this particular person's as well. So this person did a really good job with this entire project. So I want to go ahead and kind of point some things out. I want to point out the thesis here. Um, the intro is fantastic, but I want to talk about the thesis here because the thesis here is, yes, the last sentence in the intro paragraph, and it's a very good thesis. Um, the first prong here is that Adnan did not have a motive to kill Lee, right? That's the first prong. The second prong here is that the main testimony that supported his his quilt and had many his for his guilt had many inconsistencies. And then you had the lack of physical evidence provided his innocence based on reasonable doubt. So we have no motive. We had the main testimony, pretty much Jay, but she didn't mention Jay in the thesis. What proved his guilt had many consistencies, and the lack of physical evidence proved his innocence beyond a reasonable doubt. So we have three good reasons. Now, um, if you're oh, I'm sorry. If you're seeing this video, you probably already went through the lesson. And the lesson talked about the structure, and the structure is that you have to have a counter argument for your argument. So these three reasons that she has here are her arguments, right? So let's take the first one. He had no motive to kill Lee. A possible counter argument is that, well, yeah, he had a motive. Like she dumped him and he was upset about it, right? You've probably heard it in the podcast, and probably some of the things that you've read, right? So this is how she starts off. Look at how she starts off. One of the things that is usually mentioned in a murder trial is a motive, the reason why the crime was committed. And she actually gave her in-text citation. This is she's citing where she got this. Both Syed and Lee grew up in immigrant families and were expected to do well in school, go to college, and have respectable jobs. In addition, since Syed's family was Muslim, premarital relationships were not allowed. So neither family approved of the relationship at that point. See how she's building this argument, this counter argument? Therefore, the young couple had to keep it a secret. And according to the prosecutor, he became enraged, felt betrayed that his honor had been besmirched. Ooh, besmirched. She's building it up. This is the argument, the counter argument. This is a matter of honor. He was upset because they broke up, and he besmirched his honor. Right? That's the counter argument. Then when she gives the counter argument, and she does a really good job at kind of outlining what that counter argument is, not just saying, okay, this is the counter argument, now let me tell you why it's not a good argument. She actually outlines it. She did the due diligence, she did the research, she quoted Serial here, the actual podcast, right? This quote came from the podcast. Yes, the podcast is a source, and you could use the podcast as a source and quote from the podcast like she did, right? So she has all this, but then she has this transition word. However, none of the people interviewed for this case, such as defendant and victims' classmates, teachers, or family members, ever stated that Syed was devastated by the breakup. See how she turns it? That's the perfect structure. you want to do the opposing argument first, and you want to give it room. She devoted a good chunk. Let's see. Let's look at like all this space here, right? All this in purple is the space and the time she devoted with the counter argument. So she didn't go in there and just gave me the counter argument in 2 sentences. She gave it to me in several sentences. She took her time, she explained it, she went in depth, she cited sources, she cited actually 3 sources. And then she used a transition word. However, transition words are very, very important because it signals to the reader that I'm changing tones here. I'm shifting here. And she does. She gives us her argument. And her argument is actually very well done as well. It's got a lot here. um, and she does a lot of citing here. This in-text citation is very well done, by the way. And so she ends her paragraph with therefore, another great transition word. Although anger over the breakup seemed possible as a motive for murder, conceding, right? She concedes a little bit, and then she talks, says, but no. This idea was not supported by any facts or witnesses except Jay Wilds, the key witness in this case. And see how that works? And this is just 1 paragraph. And she was very, very specific with what she did. And she had a very good thesis. And this thesis here is important because again, I have 125 papers coming at me in 1 week that I have a week to grade. And you guys know that I don't grade anything very quickly. And so this is what I do. I look at your thesis, and then I look at your paragraphs here. I look at what your topic paragraph here is here. See if you did the structure. I look for the counter argument, your actual argument, how you support it, and then I move to the next paragraph. All right. So it's extremely important here that you look at the thesis, that you look at the structure of this paper, because like I said before, this paper is ideal. Doing this paper this way, make sure that you have all your ducks in a row, right? Because again, I have 125 papers coming at me, and I am going to move through them quicker than I think you've ever seen me grade before. And so I don't want to I don't want your paper to be lost in the shuffle. Because if, say, you put this wonderful thesis at the beginning of the second paragraph, I'm not going to see it's there. I'm going to look for it exactly where I have it highlighted. And if it's not there, I'm going to move on to the next paper. I'm just going to put a 0 and move on. Um, Again, we're in college now, so following directions is important. We're in college now. You've been in college for a full semester now, so trying to find ways to solve a problem on your own is part of being in college. Also, trying to find help outside of class, like at the writing lab, is part of being in college. So please use these resources. I cannot stress enough how important it is that you use the resources. Okay, well, that's all I have. I wanted to have a short talk on the thesis, um, and just point out the 3 prongs and how it goes um, in the structure of this wonderful paper. It's up to you now to look at the rest of the paper and answer your discussion board. All right, guys, see you later.